Good morning.
Hello. Hello again. How are you?
Oh, it's another beautiful day. I'm super excited to be having another conversation. Welcome back,
Yay.
Emily.
Fabulous. Yeah. I'm on my phone today, so I hope that it's okay. My computer, I can't find my charger, but long way or sideways? Sideways?
Honestly, I think it's whichever works best for you. So I believe that content is king. And so the content of conversation comes through when we're speaking from the heart and connecting from the heart. So all the tech stuff,
True. Good. I like that perspective. That's so true. Oh, wait. I forgot to take a minute to center myself. And I did this before, and I just want to center myself and give myself over to divine favor, and whatever I'm supposed to say comes out. So can we just take 1 minute to do that?
Absolutely. Yes.
Right.
A few centering breaths.
Yeah, just a few centering breaths. All right. Awesome. Thank you. Yeah. Reset.
Awesome. Yeah, I was just having a minute, just sitting and being for a moment, and just feeling a deep gratitude for our connection, for your presence. And I'm super excited to hear more about your coaching experience, how you help transform clients' lives. For the Soul Path podcast, I'm doing a mini series on the impact of coaching. And the purpose is to help elevate awareness, to help people who are unfamiliar with coaching, or maybe they've got some misconception about what coaching is, to help just kind of break it down into real life stories. This is how it actually impacts people's lives. And so I'm curious if you could share a story where maybe early in life, a mentor or a coach or somebody just impacted your life, touched your life in a special way.
Yep. So I was thinking about this before we were talking, and there are so many levels of coaching or mentorship. I think of a coach as a mentor. And my first coaches were just authors that I read that I really resonated with. So Dr. Wayne Dyer was one of my first mentors. He was not a coach to me, but he started my journey into really self-development, and where into my passion of spiritual, realization and awakening. So the next experience I had with a coach was with a spiritual business coach. And that was started about 5 years ago. And I wasn't ready to pay anybody yet. I wasn't ready to pay for coaching. That's been a recent endeavor of mine. But even having her as a mentor, and she, most of the coaches in whatever field that they are in provide a lot of free value to their potential clients. So even as a beginner or somebody who doesn't get coaching, there's so many people out there who can provide you value and help you kind of climb the ladder to where you want to go a little faster. So she really helped me look at limiting beliefs, subconscious programming. She helped me, and she introduced me to the laws of the universe, such as the law of, neutrality, the law of relativity, the law of, I forget them off the top of my head, but gaining knowledge through her direction brought me further along my path. And then I signed up for this is a different kind of coaching, a mastermind with, Dean Graziosi and Tony Robbins. So that's not a direct coaching experience, but it was a mastermind, and they are coaches. They are basically giving you all of their information, all of their tips for getting to where they are. So there are so many levels of coaching, and there's so much available out there before we even hire a coach. However, my current coach right now is a holistic, heart-centered business coach. And that's been the most one-on-one coaching I've gotten. And he's been incredibly helpful to me for preventing me from making mistakes in my business that would take me a lot longer, to get traction in my business. So one of my favorite quotes about coaching is, you find a master in order to go faster or something like that. And that's
I love
absolutely
it.
true. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
find a
absolutely
master
true.
to go faster. That
Yeah.
is so cool. I just love the way that rolls off the tongue, you know?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that idea of accelerating our growth, whether it's in business or in spiritual growth, personal development, what have you, by involving somebody that is maybe a few steps down the road, or maybe, I mean, maybe they are at the master level. That is, that's how we get that boost, that injection of other people's energy, other people's wisdom and insight, and then boom, right? It helps us bloom. So I really like how your first response in coaching was to go back to books. Wayne Dyer, you said. I believe, you know, we all seek mentors in some way. We need that, and sometimes, you know, there are people that are speaking wisdom in our lives, and then sometimes we're just out there seeking, and we connect with an author or a book, or in today's age, a podcast or what have you. I'm curious, was there something that Wayne Dyer transmitted to you, essentially something that you got from him that just really stuck and shaped a phase of your life?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Gosh, first of all, he speaks my language. So it's important to find mentors and coaches who you have the same set of words, meaning the same things. You know, there's more of a direct communication and comprehension there. So Wayne and I speak the same language. His early books, when I first started reading him, I was probably 18 or 19 years old. And he really started laying down the first kind of laws of success through the law of attraction. You know, his book, You Have to Believe It Before You See It, was really one of those transformational books for me, where he talked about his journey. One of my favorite things about the way Wayne writes is that he gives information through personal stories. And that's super important for us as humans, to connect with people in their stories. So we're not just giving these, you know, modules of learning, but we're teaching people through our own experience. And so his story was really inspiring to me. And he basically talked about, you know, he was a professor for many years, doing great in his career. Like, I mean, he was on his way to tenureship. For anybody else, this is a dream. But for him, there was a little voice inside that said, there's something more. I need to write. I have books inside of me. I need to write. This is what I'm supposed to do. And so he quit his teaching career to go and take a leap of faith, following his intuition and his soul's guidance to writing books. A lot of people were saying, Wayne, you're crazy. What are you doing? Like, you have your career all lined up for you. You know, this is uncertain. You know how many authors fail. And those are the voices we hear when we also want to take a leap in our lives to follow our soul's purpose and path. There's always going to be some talking from the choir, like, are you sure? This seems crazy. What are you doing? I mean, I've had friends just ask me that recently. Luckily, he had the support of his family. His wife and his kids supported him, even though he was the only financial support. They said, we believe in you. And he said that was really important. And from there, he just followed his intuition, and visualized and saw himself as a success, knew that that was in the future for him, and allowed his intuition just to bring him there. So I loved that story, and I loved the leap of faith that he took. And I translated that in my own life just recently. So
beautiful. Yeah. In our last conversation, you had shared about the importance of faith and trusting in guidance and intuition. And that really resonates with my heart. My life, I think, has been navigated mostly by the heart. And I've made a lot of decisions that seem like that leap of faith. Because I can't not honor my heart. I would rather know in my heart that I've followed the path that I felt like was true than go do something that seemed like a sure thing, or do what, you know, social expectations, family expectations even would have it be. So that's pretty awesome. Did you start at that point when you had kind of learned the laws of the universe, the law of attraction, you know, manifestation? Were you at that point starting to just integrate it into your life kind of straight out the gate? or was that more of
No.
a process? Okay.
No, it is seeds being scattered. I was lit on fire by it. I was really excited, but that was a soul recognition of truth that I had. I recognized the truth that he told me, but I was not at that point of discipline in my own life to really apply it and really use the power to create it. I absolutely would. It allowed me to dream a lot. And, I think dreamers are just discouraged in our society sometimes. And the power of dreams is really important, to feel your dreams, to imagine yourself doing the things that you love. I would start doing that. Absolutely. And I considered myself limitless in the fact that I believed that I could do whatever I wanted to do in life, that I was free to create and be the artist I want to be the writer I want to be, to travel the world. I held that as possible. I never told myself, you can't do that. I mean, like, we all have negative voices that come up, but I always knew that I had this ability to do what I was feeling called to do. So that gave me this beginning of encouragement on my path. But it did take many years, and actually it took a period of deep suffering and darkness for me to really have the motivation to implement that on a daily basis. And I listened to Abraham Hicks like on the daily when I was transforming my mindset away from the victim mindset that I was living in and into this empowered state of being in which I took responsibility for my life, and I knew that I could create it. So there's definitely a gap. Yeah. And everybody's path is going to be different. And when they're ready to really, like, I'm desperate. Like, for me to make really, like, sudden, intense changes, sometimes I have to be desperate. I have to be like, okay, I can't do this anymore. There's a comfort when you're in some, basic comfort. There's not a lot of seeking and searching. And that's why our darkness and our shadow points are such points of gifts and inspiration, because then it really motivates us to make needed changes in our lives. So.
Yeah. Awesome. That is so cool. It sounds like, when I hear you share that story, I think about coaching or mentorship as a means of, like you said, your soul recognized truth. I mean, you got it. And so you were ready to receive that seed. The soil was fertile, but it takes time for that to really integrate and to bloom in life. And through that process, so, one coach or one mentor might come along, plant some seeds, drop a little truth bomb here and there, and you're like, wow, I get it, and then the mind works on it, the heart works on it. We try to integrate it and apply it. But because we're comfortable, or we're just bebopping through life having fun, right? It doesn't seem, I mean, it's there, but it's not the most important thing, right?
I think
so the discipline is lacking sometimes, and the motivation. And then this is such a human thing, right? I mean, like, we know we get these ideas, I've learned, but I'm not implementing, I'm not integrating. Why? Lack of motivation, lack of discipline, or lack of focus.
And that's what the coach does, right? The coach is there. It's so easy to fall back into complacency and to fall back to sleep, as they say. We have an aha moment. We have this real strong desire for an inspired action. Oh my God, I got to do this. And then you don't do it. And then it passes, and you're just putting time and space between you and your dream life or your future life. Whereas a coach keeps you accountable. There's this accountability and a responsibility, and they're calling you out, and they're saying, hey, Ray, what about this? Don't forget this. And you're like, yes, thank you for reminding me. Oh my gosh, of course. I remember.
Yeah. Thank you for reminding me of this truth. Thank you for reminding me of this intention that I set. Thank you for holding me accountable to my own heart's desire, which is really kind of a curious thing, right? How we can feel so inspired in one moment and so certain and launch with all of the intention and excitement for the potential. But then in the process of going through it, life happens, chaos happens. It's always kind of a testing process of unfolding that. And if we don't have a coach or a mentor or somebody in our life to help provide that consistent accountability, that consistent fidelity to our own intention, our own manifestation, then it's really easy to kind of drift toward the default, right? We drift toward mediocre. We drift toward the path of least resistance. We drift toward the habits that we've had for a lifetime that are no longer serving us. We drift into subconscious patterns of inertia and the cycle of self-induced suffering. This kind of happens. Yeah, that's a human thing, pretty sure. So in your more current coaching experience on the receiving end of coaching, has there been, say like in the last 5 years, have you had any just really kind of poignant and profound aha moments where that you felt the impact of that accountability, the impact of that outside perspective?
Yes. Most recently, though, and I truly haven't only gotten one-on-one coaching in a kind of a group coaching atmosphere, but it's one-on-one in the last 6 months. So my coaching, getting direct coaching, has been relatively recent. And for me, again, this is all, my coaching was business related. I've studied spirituality and spiritual development, for 20 years. We talked about that. And so that's my area of expertise. And so I don't need a lot in that area to trigger my memory and my expertise in that area. However, business, I am learning it. This is, I did not go to business school. I've run a couple businesses, and this is a completely new, different business that I'm working on. And I've seen and felt how seasoned advice from somebody who has gone that road before, who has failed and made all the mistakes before, how that is a potential for a quantum leap in my life and business. And here, let me be honest with you. I am working in a different paradigm than most everybody. I believe that it is our purpose to live in joy. Okay. To live and enjoy, to really be in the moment, to make connections with other people, to feel our soul, and really experience life joyfully. A lot of mentors, and this is true too. I'm saying that this is valid, but work hard, get up at 5 a.m., do your thing, kill it every day. That's a very capitalistic, go, 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 competition. You got to make it before your competitor. I am shifting out of that because that doesn't work for me. That you got to do it. You got to make it. You're not good enough until you're doing this, and this. That's more of, I guess, the action oriented, where I'm moving more into being oriented. And so what that means is I like to enjoy my life. I love to go surfing. I love spending time with my family. I love spending time with my friends. All of this is not working on my business. So I need a coach to help me make mistakes, to prevent me from making mistakes in my business that I would make and have to learn long, expensive lessons from. So I take coaching to help myself move faster in my business with fewer action items. Okay. So my current business coach helps Dharma Puglisi. He gives me these tips and ideas on what's the best path to get to where you want to go. And I don't know these things in myself. And I'm like, this is such a good idea. Of course I should do this rather than this. I'm about to spend all this time and energy doing this, and I'm not going to get any leverage. But the coach says, here, do this instead. And it's a bigger, better leverage point. So I can go faster, further faster. Yeah. So that's the benefit to me of his coaching, is that I need somebody to help me go faster, further faster, so that I can relax and enjoy my life, as well as grow and run a couple businesses. So.
Yeah. I think that's so relevant to where, like you said, you're free-spirited, in the flow, very attuned to the moment. And in that mode, if business is not your area of expertise, all of the learning and, years of trial and error of making mistakes. And in one conversation, one comment from your coach, you can see all of a sudden, boom, I don't have to make that mistake. Now, literally standing on the shoulders of giants, quantum leaping into our own potential. And it just seems like such an efficient use of time and energy, right?
Yes. I love efficiency. I love efficiency. For instance, one of the most recent suggestions was before we launched our coaching business, it was named something else. And my business coach says, honestly, this name is not, I don't know what it means. You have like 3 seconds for your clients to recognize what it is you do, be attracted to that and want to click further or read further. Or they're like, I don't know what that is. They pass, don't see you at all. So my husband was resistant to changing the name because, it's kind of like your baby. You have developed, it's like writing a book. The edit is like, everything is in the edit, right? It's like, I write this book, it's a masterpiece, and now I have to edit it 10 times and like change my baby. But he was like resistant to changing the name. And I said, honey, this changing the name will help us get clients faster. And that's what I need to do. Like, I'm not willing to wait 2 years to do brand building so I can get clients. I want to get clients like right away by attracting the right ones to me through a proper name. So we rebranded, and already people recognize it, and it's more clear and anyway, that was a brilliant suggestion. I'm so grateful for him for that.
Yeah. The impact being that it really helped you gain clarity faster, right?
Yes.
That's a huge benefit. Huge benefit. I think, on the accountability issue, to circle back to that for a sec, talking about the drive, the go. I've coached in a lot of different sectors, right? And so, like being an athletics coach for a high school football team, for example, that's a certain kind of coaching. And right, it is very much light a fire, put the boot in the ass. You know what I mean? And it's helping push just a little bit harder than you think you can, right? That's something I tell the kids a lot. Just push a little bit hard. I'm asking you to just give 100%. Just push a little bit harder as you think you can. You go as hard as you can, and you get stronger. This is how we grow, right? And yet the lessons that are applicable on the field are applicable off the field. And there's so much metaphor for the game of life and effort and discipline, which are so important, and I would say critical. If we are determined to bear fruit in the world, that unending desire to create something, there's going to be, in early stages of life, we might have a vision like, oh, I want to go do this or that, the other, maybe build a business. Maybe I want to be a teacher. Or I want to go taste a career, try this out. And then later in life, maybe it's something, this isn't bringing me satisfaction. And so now I need to find another path in life, and I'm going to go create this new life and manifest a different desire and intention. Maybe that's a different role. Maybe that's, seeking more freedom to not be oppressed by an employer. I mean, all this kind of stuff is happening. And the discipline and accountability part of it, I think, is important. But and there's the word that went through my mind when you were sharing that was the dark side of accountability, where if you are involved or engaged in a coaching relationship, or there's somebody there that's just really hammering on, you have to, for example, when I was in finance, there's the sales manager, and the sales manager's job is to make sure all the low level guys like me were out there, beating the street and generating sales. And so, how many sales did you make? How many phone calls did you make? How many doors did you knock on? There's all this accountability to, like, how much do you think you can do? Well, did you do that? What were the results? And yes, that made me a better salesman. Yes, it developed a skill set, but it was kind of off-putting to me. And actually the word that I use is it was soul sucking. I just found no joy in finance and in sales. So I had to go a different path, and I had to let go of the leisure and the lifestyle that comes with finance. And, I had to be willing to be brave and jump into the wild unknown and follow my heart, follow the intuition. What does the next life stage look like? And I think because of that experience, I had a little bit of kind of resistance to, or I had a little bit of a wall up to the idea of accountability or of even of coaching. You know, it was like, I don't need somebody, you know, riding my ass all the time and hold my feet to the fire. I'm pretty good about being disciplined on my own right, you know, and that kind of thing. So, but fast forward 15, 20 years or however long it's been since that point in life, I've come around to see it differently and see just the enormous impact of coaching. When I started getting into more business and I saw, wow, these busy entrepreneurs, these spiritual entrepreneurs, these heart-centered business leaders they all have coaches. You know, what is this value that they're getting? And it is, like you were saying, the return on the investment, learning to be more efficient, to grow faster, to accelerate toward achieving positive impact. And for a business owner, it's profitable positive impact, but it's all energetic impact from the spiritual perspective in my mind. Yep. So I'm curious about the label of coach. And like you've said, there's business coaches, spiritual coaches, life coaches, marital coaches, relationship, you know, there's all kinds of, I mean, you name it. There's probably somebody out there that's willing to coach you up on the skills and the wisdom. Yeah. So coach, you know, like the words go through my mind, like pastor, priestess, guru, guide, coach. You know, is it all kind of in that same nebulous categorically or what? And then I guess the question is, how would you describe coaching to somebody, or the role of a coach to somebody that's unfamiliar with the label or just a little unsure about the label?
Okay. All right, a couple of things. To the first point, or maybe I'll just try to answer both of them, see if it comes out right. So I use the analogy of, you know, a fish in water a lot. I think we talked about this. We don't, as a fish in water, we don't really recognize the water around us because we are immersed in it all the time. Right. So let's say for myself as a spiritual coach, I recognize that we run on unconscious programming a lot. And it's hard for us to see our own programming because we're immersed in it. So to me, a coach is somebody who can hold space for us where we are at, and B, can point out things that we are doing or thinking that might not align with our truest and highest potential self, and also hold the accountability of this is your intention. Let's hold you accountable to this intention, which is for your best and highest self, versus letting it kind of fade away. So I would define a coach as somebody who can see you a little better sometimes than you can see yourself, so that they can coach you to step into your future self faster by allowing us to break old patterns of habits or beliefs and create new, you know, habits and patterns in our lives. So kind of get our machine greased and working better and faster, like a regular checkup and tune-up on an automobile.
Yes, that's beautiful. I love the phrase holding space. And there's a handful of experiences in my life where somebody spoke to me and thanked me for holding space. And this, like the first time I ever heard that phrase, holding space, I was at a conference. It was a yoga conference. And the gentleman that had been organizing it came up to me and he said, you know why you're here, right? I mean, yeah, I have some ideas about why I'm here. I mean, yeah, I'm here to learn, engage, and all that kind of stuff. He said, you're here to hold space. I've seen it and I felt it. And that struck me. You know, that was the first time I'd ever heard the phrase hold space. And I have a lot I could say about it, but I'm curious, when you say hold space, how does that translate to you? When you think about holding space for somebody, what does that mean to somebody that's unfamiliar with the phrase?
Yeah, I would love to hear what your also your experience with it, as I'm kind of new to it as well. This idea of holding space, for me, holding space allows when somebody holds space for us, it allows us to process where we are at. Okay, so we can't change until we're ready to change, or we have a willingness to sacrifice certain parts of ourselves or our lives in order to gain different parts of ourselves in our lives. I think of holding space as, well, as a coach, we simultaneously always try to encourage and push and excel the person. There's also having to hold space for where they are at in their lives right now, for their current limitations, which is totally fine. We all have limitations. So that we're not forcing them along their journey faster than they're ready to go, because that creates resistance on the road. So, it's been a lot of, in the new age circles, a lot of people are saying, you have to feel it in order to heal it. So, when we're dealing with negative emotions or experiences in our lives, it's the old way to avoid them. Oh, let's not look at that. Let's just kind of totally avoid that. I don't want to look at that. Oh, yeah. And what I don't agree. I don't want to be like, I'm stuck in the mud about this. But it's important for us to feel the emotions that come up, to acknowledge that this is how I feel. And this is where I'm at right now. I feel a lot of resistance right now to what you're saying. I'm not ready to move forward right now. And it's like, okay, I hold your space for you. For when you are ready to move to the next step, I'm here for you. I'll check back in on you, but you have your process and you are an expert in your own life. I am not your expert. Okay. You are your expert. So you'll know when you're ready. You'll know what you need to do intuitively, even if it's rehash this negative situation or experience or this victimhood over and over and over again. That's your process. And I'm holding space for your process the way it is right now. That I feel like that's it decreases our resistance. If we're trying to be pushed beyond what we're capable of doing at that moment, it's going to create resistance and no, thank you. Whereas a nice gentle flow into the next transition of our lives, I think, sticks better. Yeah. Does that make sense?
It does. It makes great sense. Yeah. I was thinking about it as you were talking. It kind of painted a picture. It's almost like a soft sort of accountability it's the softer side of accountability. It's, holding space for me it's maintaining intentional presence, to be fully embodied and aware in a moment, and to create kind of a safe space. It's protecting that sacred space for self-reflection, for somebody else's process, for somebody else to emote, for somebody else to express, for somebody else to experience their own human experience, their own spiritual experience, body, emotional experience, whatever they're experiencing in the moment. By holding space, it's kind of protecting that. I feel like it's putting my arms around somebody. You could think about it like, putting a bubble of love around somebody, or just creating this space where it's okay. You are accepted. You are loved right where you're at. You are perfect just as you are. Your experience is valid. It's real. Let's be here. Let's heal together. And that's holding space in my heart. And it's so important, I think, because a lot of people, I would say by far the majority of people, do not have on a regular basis that kind of space, right? They don't have, I think a lot of people, not necessarily isolated, we may have friendships and be socially active, but lack that depth of relationship or that type of relationship where there's true intimacy, not physical intimacy so much as intimacy, but openness and acceptance. I love what you said about, a coach, maybe somebody that can see something in yourself that you can't see in yourself, right? Or it's seeing you for who you are. And again, back to the holding space, it's accepting. holding up that mirror of love and light so that somebody can accept themselves and accept their own experience. And that is, it's profound to me. You know, it's a very sacred and special human dynamic, that kind of relationship, the mentorship, the coaching, whatever label we want to put on it. It's a time-honored tradition for humans to interact at that level and to hold space for each other, to help each other grow. Because I believe in each of us is that divine spark, that divine seed, that divine presence, that divine being, you know, the infinite wisdom, all of that is already there. And part of holding space may be allowing that to emerge, honoring that which is in there, because you can see it, you can feel it, even if somebody's not seeing it and feeling it themselves. But in that honoring, offering them the opportunity to grow at their own pace, to emerge, to bloom, you know, it's all that beautiful stuff. So
yeah, I actually had a coaching experience which helped me gain confidence in myself, but not through the time-honored ways. I had a coach who was kind of like pushing me to, you got to go faster. You got to do this. You know, you're going to be like, through kind of a negativity motivation lens. Like, you're going to be stuck doing the same thing if you don't change. And that I realized doesn't work for me. Like, I don't want to be motivated by negativity, because I acknowledge that I am exactly where I'm supposed to be, exactly like who I'm supposed to be in this moment now. So there's no lack. There's no self-worth that's attached to making more money. You know, for me, I love money because I love what it can do. I love it as a tool. I love spreading it around. But that's not my motivator. So it's also can be great to have multiple coaching experiences where you know your own style. Like what motivates me the most? Like, for some people, they want a coach that's like riding your ass, like go, like every day, get up, right? You know, 75 hard it, like do this. I realized that that's not my style. Yeah. So I learned something about myself, and I was able to stand up for myself and say, I'm not ready for this right now. It allowed me to love myself and have compassion for where I was in my life in a different way. So there's actually a lot of benefits to coaching that are even unintended consequences.
Yeah. I like to say that when I own a yoga studio. I think I maybe told you that in the last time we visited.
Cool.
You know, but there are lots of yoga studios, right? And so I tell people, yoga's like flavors of ice cream, you know, and there's more than 31 flavors. You have to find what flavor of yoga works for you, and maybe it's the same or it's applicable to coaching. You know, there are so many different flavors of coaching. What flavor is fits for you? What feels good to your heart? What kind of relationship do you leave feeling energized, encouraged, equipped? You're motivated. You're like, yes. And then, you know, it feels safe if you're at a place you're struggling. You want to go back and say, hey, can you help me think through this one? Or can you hold some space here? Help me reflect on this so I can see something that I'm currently blind to. That's the beauty of being in that, you know, in that relationship, having that relationship. So one of my acronyms that I teach a lot is how to focus is to aim. And that's asking the right questions, involving the right people, and making the right decisions. And involving the right people is specifically, you know, yes, involving support group, involving positive friendships, involving, you know, healthy relationships, but it's involving mentorship. It's involving coaching. It's involving those people who are there to hold space or to keep you accountable, perhaps both, you know, preferably both, but depending on your personality, depending on your flavor, what you need, you know, the point is that we need to seek it out, right? And how awesome is it to have the opportunity as a coach to be able to hold the space and have the impact, right? So in your coaching experience, do you have a memorable moment where you were holding space for somebody or helping have that time where you just saw the light click, that you saw them light up, had the aha? Can you share a story about that?
that my most recent favorite story about that, I don't know if I held space for him or not. So you let me know. It was just a friend of mine who I was talking to. We were in Costa Rica. He is visiting from the States, and his energy was troubled. And I kind of asked him about that. I said, "What's going on?" And he kind of launches into a story about people owing him lots of money, and he's very stressed because, he's got a lot of responsibilities, and he was really stuck on that. He was in the space of being really obsessed about this amount of money, all these people that owed him money for his business. I didn't want to hold space for him there. I wanted to hold space for him where I saw him as being perfectly supported, and everything's always working out for him. He always has enough money. He's living in abundance. That's an equally true reality. Okay. Right. Yes. People owed him lots of money, and that was stressful to him. I'm not discounting that experience of fear, but I pointed out to the space of him, and I said, you can focus in that zone. I will tell you, as a vibrational being, you'll just create more of the same of people owing you money, but you can shift to this also equally present space of, look at the history of your life. Have you always had enough? Oh, well, yeah, of course. Are you well off, like compared to a lot of the people in the world? Oh, well, yeah. Yeah, of course. Has it always worked out for you in the past? Like, have you ever been homeless? Have you ever not had enough to eat? He's like, well, no, of course not. No. So that is an equal space for you to dwell in right now, my friend, that you are perfectly safe and supported in this moment now. And I could feel his reality shift. And he was like, it took me a couple times of saying, because he wanted to fight me and say, no, but he wanted to hold on to his drama. Like, this is what I'm defined by right now. I'm not ready to let it go. And I kept bringing the space back to, that's fine. I understand that it's scary. I understand that, that it's really hard for when people, F with us in our business. It hurts a lot. However, you are creating in this moment now through your vibrational output. And if your vibrational output is in the reality of everyone owes me money all the time, you're going to keep creating this. So I'm just going to bring your attention over to this equally true and valid reality that you've always been perfectly supported, that your life is abundant, that everything's always working out for you, and you really have nothing to fear. And his reality clicked. I got just a little quick phone call that came in there. His reality clicked over, and I could see his energy shift where he was like, I got it. And I was like, yes, you got it. And he was like, and he had put down that burden, because we all have burdens we can carry 100%. We can all focus on our burdens, or we can focus on the equal and opposite reality of those burdens, which also exist. And that helps us bring us through the muck into the next, and creating the future in a different way. So I don't know so I didn't hold space for him where he was at because I was like, they say that I never went to like church, but I really love like all religions and stuff. And they say that Jesus could heal because he acknowledged people for perfect and whole and complete. And that was the space he held for them. And it was his belief in their perfection that allowed them to come to the vibration that they needed to come to in order to have these magnificent healings and to change their lives. But Christ really held space for them in the spiritual realm of, you are perfect. Along this path right now, I see your perfection, not your illness. I see your potential and not your tragedy. So in another way is holding space for people in the equal and opposite reality of sometimes the darkness and the shadow that we exist in. Mm-hmm. So I don't know.
I am, my head is going bing, 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 bing. There's so many things right there. I'm like, that is really awesome. One, I love that you brought up the story of Christ and, learning from that. There's so much we can learn from any and all of the wisdom traditions, right? Like, let's not be so lofty in our spirituality that we discard thousands of years of traditional wisdom. There's something there. Let's learn from the stories. And the idea that you present that, like you said, you weren't holding space for your client where he's at. Because that's where we were just kind of talking about, like creating that bubble of love around something, that kind of idea of holding space, but actually holding space for where they could be. And then, like he was pulling from the story of Christ, but the holding space in the spiritual sense of where somebody's actually at. And in the vibrational sense, this is huge to me. I'm like, I'm thinking about that, like, wow, what we're doing is we're holding a space and this is on the vibrational frequency level. I'm thinking about it like, creating a space, a high vibe space, and then offering an invitation. And in that invitation, kind of attracting the higher part of the divine spark within somebody that wants to be in that space of lightheartedness, an elevated state of being, free from all the crap. But the ego and the gripping on expectations and the identity of I'm the victim here. What's going on? I have this reason for drama. I have to be able to justify my emotions, so that just seeing that whole thing play out, it's like you're drawing out that inner divine creature to come out and play. Life is beautiful today, right now,
Yes.
So,
yes, exactly.
I love that. I love that we can do that as coaches, as humans, that we can hold that space in that higher vibrational space. Ellen's gonna be with me. Thank you, Emily. That was awesome.
My pleasure. I love it. That's like a passion of mine, is learning more analogies and I just learned that one just like a month ago, reading a book about A Course in Miracles and about Christ's miraculous healing, about our ability to heal ourselves. And I was also very struck by it. I was like, yes. Yes.
There's a book called The Miracle Power of the Mind by Joseph Murphy. And he does a really great job. He goes through all of the scriptures, the Bible scriptures, the stories of Jesus, the Bible stories, and casts it in a wholly different light, right? Looking at it with a new understanding of, Christ as a representation of consciousness, divine consciousness, et cetera, et cetera. The Heavenly Father as the divine essence, and looking at it as metaphor or analogy for a metaphysical reality, a quantum reality that we actually live in. And then from that perspective, he threads or extracts, I guess, or teaches the law of manifestation, the law of attraction. Like, this is what it really means, ask and you shall receive. This is what it really means, and I just think, wow, that's magic. And I love that kind of stuff. And I love openness in considering it. You know what I mean? I get kind of, sometimes, I've got a broad spectrum of beliefs within my own extended family. Everything from very sincere and devoted Baptists to very atheistic and like adamantly non-religious and not spiritual. So and then everywhere in between. And I love it because I can have a conversation with all of them and enjoy talking about God. And maybe I'm talking about God and Jesus over here and just the value of the spiritual growth down the traditional path. Maybe I'm talking about, God concepts, or, like, what is the higher philosophical fluff, which I love. I studied philosophy in college, so I'm really into it, but I enjoy it. And it's always refreshing to me to hear somebody that has a perspective that is kind of an all-encompassing. It sees and honors the wisdom of the traditional teachings. It sees and honors the wisdom of, I think, humanity as a whole. And that is, for me, I consider that to be a spiritually mature state. And I talk a lot about the path of virtue, the virtuous path of honesty, humility, and honor. And so we have to be honest with ourselves, humbly acknowledge our own limitations, humbly acknowledge our own conditioning, all of that kind of stuff. And then honor the human condition. So it's honoring the divine presence in every other person, but it's also honoring the lineage. It's honoring the path, the people that have come before me, my parents and grandparents and grandparents. They're everything that came into being through the working of the cosmos, like at the biggest scale. It's really, truly magical that I'm here alive. I get to be me and have this human experience, which is phenomenal. It's freaking amazing. I used to think there's magic in every moment. And then I like one day it just hit me. It's not that there's magic in every moment. I mean, don't get me wrong, there is. It's that every moment is magic. Every moment is pure magic. And I am manifesting magically my intention in the world, or I'm manifesting more accurately my vibrational frequency in the world. But I just get excited about that kind of stuff. So,
me too.
Okay. I just caught the time. Having a positive impact and holding space, inviting people to step into their own divine presence is a beautiful picture, a beautiful practice. I'm curious if you could share what you love the most about coaching.
Mm-hmm. About coaching other people, or
exactly.
About being coached? Okay, yes. Oh, well, it's exactly what I love, providing people the freedom that they could live in at every now moment. So many of us are imprisoned in our minds. And it was he was imprisoned in this story of, I'm a victim of these people. My friend, who I love so dearly, and she really appreciates my coaching, gets stuck in focusing on the things she's dissatisfied with. And she struggles, and her life is not easy. And I'm not saying, oh, just transcend all that. But I coach her to focus on the gratitude, focus on the presence, focus on the health of your child, focus on the fact that you have running water. When we do the dishes, it's not like I have to do all these dishes. Like, I have running water. I can do these dishes in my sink. Little shifts allow us to be free in the moment. And the freedom allows us to be fully present in the present moment, not telling stories about the past or holding on to these beliefs and projections. But the freedom, I love coaching people to freedom. Okay. Because in this moment now, we are all free, but we sometimes need some help to disengage our prison bars of our own mind, because our mind creates the prison, and it's our mind that needs to be trained. And so I love, teaching people to find freedom in this now moment through perspective, and empowering themselves to know that they are already free and this is all okay. So I love seeing the transformation in people energetically. So my friend, feeling free, I could feel his energy lift up and lighten up, and he was at peace. Okay. My friend Sarah calls me and she's struggling. And I love that at the end of the conversation, she's like, thank you for reminding me. I feel better. I remember now. And then they release their burdens. So really helping people release their burdens and be free in this moment now there's no better feeling. I'm so grateful to have had those opportunities. I'm so grateful to be supportive to people who are ready for that in the future. And that gives me, it's like the highlight of my day every day. I love it. I love it.
That is super awesome. Somebody asked me recently, if there was one thing you could give to my daughter, what would it be? And I said, freedom. Without hesitation, it would be freedom. I want her to be absolutely uninhibitedly free to be and to do whatever she desires, whoever she desires to be, whatever she desires to do. And in hearing you share your passion and your heart, I think, there's going to be a time in her life where listening to dad is not so cool anymore. And so she's going to start involving some other coaches to hear it from somebody else. And I know where I'm going to send her. I'm going to say, hey, this really awesome lady you need to talk to. You should go talk to my friend Emily.
I pretty much say the same thing as your dad, but I'm not your dad, so you'll listen.
So awesome. So to all of those who are hearing this podcast and just feeling your heart and your vibe and feeling attracted to what you offer as a coach, as a presence, as a person, you're just incredible. How can people best connect with you in the coaching department? What's the path there?
So at this point, the best way is just my social media on Facebook or Instagram. I am at Emily, Emilee, but you can write a link, _Bronwyn, Bronwyn. And right now we're currently giving away a month of free coaching. So we're doing a coaching giveaway. And also I'm setting up the social media will be the way for right now. I'm setting up a way for people to book a free 1 hour spiritual insight, breakthrough coaching call with us. And now is a great time because I'm giving a lot away for free as we're in our beta launch. I would love people to find me and DM me, send me a message. That nothing makes me happier than to connect with people who connect with me. So that would be great.
Yeah. What such a servant's heart, Emily. It's just been, again, just been super awesome. I really, my cheeks are all lit up from smiling so much.
Yeah.
And there's so much more. I feel like, I want to keep the conversation going and explore more. But out of respect for time, I know that we must go out and make the most of this day. So I just want to thank you so much for your time. It has been an honor. It has certainly been a joy. I feel encouraged to go out and live my joy and experience the joy today. And that would be the message from my heart to the audience today. Go live your joy. And in closing, is there anything from your heart that you would like to share with the audience before we close out today?
I think it's just always important to remind everybody that you are already worthy in this moment now. There's nothing that you need to do. There's nobody else you need to be. There's nothing else you need to have to be perfect, whole, and complete, because you already are. And it's just a little shift inwards into gratitude, which allows the world to open up to us magically. So that would be my end.
Beautiful wisdom, Emily. Thank you again so much. And I look forward to connecting with you soon. You have a beautiful day.
Me too. Thank you, Luke, so much. I really appreciate it. Blessings.
Have a great day.
Okay, you too. Bye-bye.